Understanding our past, understanding our culture, that helps us place ourselves in the present. The story of history isn't just a story of what happened a long time ago to a bunch of people who aren't alive anymore. It's a story of where we are today.
The importance of organizations like this is to not just to document and preserve objects, that's an important part of what we do, but I think it's even more important to engage people, to make them a part of the experience and to use these objects to tell stories.
For so long, and specifically for me as an Afro-Boricua, Afro-Puerto Rican man, is the fact that for far too long, our history hasn't been told, or artifacts have been missing, so there's been gaps. And so I think it's important, right, because again, my grandmother, as an example, was a founder of a political movement in Waterbury, but you would never know that unless you had her old paper clippings and news. Making sure that history can guide and dictate where we go as a future is important, and also knowing that within the last 50, 60 years, there's all this new rich history that's coming to light that we need to capture for future generations to look back and say, hey, Connecticut Museum of Culture and History has that archive. They have those pieces, they have those stories that are missing in our discovery of ourselves.
I think of our community 50 years, 100 years from now, how do we know about us? And what are the clues that we can leave behind that help them understand the complexity of our experiences?
I feel honored and humbled, first and foremost, to just speak and say gracias, mil gracias, which means thank you, 1,000 thanks to Connecticut Museum of History and Culture for exploring and creating a space for Latinos to feel like they have a home. I look forward to the next 200 years, right, and wanting to keep going with this history and these archival pieces, but also the continuation of Latinos and Boricuas from Hartford and throughout the whole state to feel like this is a home for history, for culture, to celebrate, to share.
History and culture, right, are compasses in terms of where we've been, where we are going, and hopefully a way to help us shape the future. And for diverse communities to be reflected in this space is very significant.
You need a place like the Connecticut Museum of Culture and History to keep that knowledge alive. And it's alive here in the collections, it's in the texts, it's in the archives, it's in the artifacts. That memory that anyone can access. When people walk out the doors, it's up to them to decide what the future is going to look like.